In this video, I am going to discuss about domain and range of a function. But before I do so, I will quickly give you the definition of function. Remember, definition of function says it's a mapping between two sets where each item in the first set maps to only one item in the second. So here is an example. I have three items here in the first set and three items in the second. So A gets mapped to F, B gets mapped to E, and C gets mapped to D. So, and the notation for function is kind of this, f of x. Okay, so it takes an item in the first set and maps it onto the second. Now the items on the first set is called domain of a function. Okay, and the items on the second set is called the range of a function. So this is very important for you to know. Okay, the elements or the items or things in the first set, we call this domain, all of them. And the elements, items or things, whatever you call them, in the second set, all of them is the range. All of them consist of range, or we call it range altogether. So this is what domain and range means. It refers to the set which we are dealing with. Domain means all the items in the first set where the mapping begins, and range means all the items in the second set where the mapping ends. Now let me give you the definition of domain and range in a sort of different way, an engineering point of view. An engineer looks at a function, so this is your function. Okay, he or she says that it's input going into the function and it gives you an output. Okay, and the rule is for each input there should be only one output. Okay, now set up all these inputs is called domain. Okay, and set of all these outputs we call it range. Again, it translates to this one. Inputs relates to all the elements in the first set, and outputs relates to all the elements in the second set. So all the collection of inputs, so the collection or the set of inputs consists of domain. That means set of inputs make the domain and set of outputs makes the range. And this is very important for you to understand and distinguish between domain and range. Now, domain values are coming from the first set, meaning it is the independent variable. And the range value comes from the second set, meaning is the dependent variable. And also note that function is represented y is equal to f of x. This is a representation, a notation for function. So what does it say? F of x. It is not f times x, just to clarify. It says that we are dealing with a function where the independent variable is x. That means the inputs are x values, or the first set, the domain values are x, and the dependent variable is y. That means y value depends on the values of x. So y is the dependent variable that's coming from the range. Okay, so keep in mind this input output definition of function and the mapping definition of function, and also what is domain and what is range. Let me give you one quick example before I end the video. Let's say here is my function y is equal to f of x is equal to negative 3x. I just made it up. Now your input values are going to be all the x values. So it's going to be if x is 0, y is 0. If x is negative 1, y is negative 1 times negative 3, which is positive 3. If x is 1, y is negative 3, because 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. So now these values are coming from the domain, these values are coming from the range. This is the independent variable, x is the independent variable, and y is the dependent variable. I hope that this discussion was helpful. Thank you very much.